Number 5 on this list is the alien baby. This is a clip of what looks like an alien child. We know how the government is with aliens and anything extraterrestrial, so it's clear why they wouldn't want the public looking at something like this too closely. I mean, they don't let anyone in on anything happening in any of their secret bases, so it makes sense they wouldn't want us watching a video like something like this. Let's show 30 seconds of this clip and you guys comment down below what the heck this thing is.
Now, how are you feeling? You feeling okay? You feel well? Go and get you something? Want a glass of water? We're not really getting anywhere, are we, at the moment? Are you seeing something? Is there something you see over there?
So very clearly that is not a human child. Now it's possible that could be an animal of some kind, but I have no idea what type of animal looks like that. That's why if I had to guess, we're looking at some type of alien creature. This is a really interesting find because it means that aliens might have children similar to how we have children. Obviously we don't know the process to how this baby came about, but the idea that aliens grow like we grow. That's important information because for a long time people have speculated on their reproductive process. To just assume that they grow like we grow would be ignorant on our part, but now this looks like some serious evidence. What I want to see though is a clip of this creature several years from now. What does this thing look like then? It doesn't look too threatening today, but you already know that it's going to turn into something deadly most likely. Number 4 on this list is the dinosaurs. This next clip was initially from Shortest Blockbusters, but was broken down by Chills on his channel. I'm gonna play you an excerpt of what he has to say right now.
Do you believe that some extraterrestrials are living among us? Then you really gotta see this scary video. The footage shows 2 dinosaur-looking creatures scurrying across a frozen river. They have spines that are heightened, long tails, and pointed heads. Otherwise, their bodies look more or less human. Are these dinosaurs extraterrestrials, humanoids?
And that is the big question, right guys? Aliens, dinosaurs, or humanoids? What the heck are they? He goes on in that video to talk about how he believed this was actually VFX, but some people in the comments weren't too sure. VFX could easily be the explanation, but it could also be used as an excuse. The government has chalked a lot of things up to VFX and CGI before, and some of that has turned out to be real, so why can't this? Aliens living among us, or other creatures living among us, has been talked about and rumored for a long time. We have had no definitive proof, but videos like this just keep getting released with no explanation. I wouldn't be surprised if in a few years' time some real proof finally surfaces, confirming a lot of our suspicions about these creatures. Number 3 on this list is the river creature. This next video was released back in 2015 and shows a bunch of people wearing hazmat suits picking a strange looking creature out of a river. This was apparently captured in Poland and there was no official report on this when it came out. So as we can see, there is a bunch of people with hazmat suits picking up this weird creature from the river. What is that creature and why do they need to be wearing these hazmat suits for? So they hand it off to some other people in different colored hazmat suits and then walk to a place where presumably the person filming can't go. I also wouldn't be surprised if the person filming was already in a spot where they weren't allowed to be and just snuck in anyways. Maybe this is in some secret base of some kind where experiments are being performed. I mean, why else would they need hazmat suits? Definitely a very strange one there, guys. Comment down below if you have any idea what they were doing here and what that thing was. Number 2 on this list is the creepy mermaid. So I always thought that I would want to meet a mermaid, but if this is what they look like, then I definitely don't have any interest in that anymore. We're gonna see a clip from a video here that was posted back in 2018. It looks to be of a docking area somewhere and has an incredibly scary creature lying across the dock. So what the hell was that thing, guys? That is one messed up creature that is hanging around there. Maybe it got scared off by the camera and decided that it wanted to head back in the water after it spotted the person filming it. It had a tail kind of like a mermaid, but at the same time, there wasn't really anything human about this thing, so maybe it isn't connected to that at all. But if it isn't a mer person, then what sort of creature could this thing be, and why haven't we heard more about it? You have to imagine that if creatures like this are swimming around our waters, that the government, they'd be aware of this, but they haven't said anything about it at all. Who knows how many creepy things are in our oceans that we don't know about. And number 1 on this list is the creepy creature. The video that I'm going to show you was uploaded by Keenan Music to YouTube on May 7th, 2021. It's a very short clip, only 15 seconds long, of someone investigating Japan using Google Earth and discovering something super creepy and weird. An unexplained object is going to be flying in the sky over top of a Japanese city. Let's roll the clip now. That thing almost looks like a drone, but it also looks like it could be made from organic material. I also don't know of any drones that look like that are constructed by humans. Could this be something from another planet that made its way to Earth undetected and is scoping out our world? I think everything is on the table with something like this, and some investigation desperately needs to get done. Comment down below what you think this could be and why nothing official has been released on it yet.
Number 5, the Kane Parsons shorts. Now if you're a fan of internet horror like Slender Man, Marble Hornets, or the SCP Foundation, you know, all that sort of stuff, then no doubt you're probably already well versed in the Backrooms and all the horror those odorous 70s hallways emanate. But I know my mom watches my videos sometimes, so I thought I'd start off with a quick summary and a flash of the most famous Backrooms content before we really get into it. Initially starting life as a small post on a certain image board, you know the one, in 2019, Backrooms refers to a space between realities that manifests as a dreary, never-ending stretch of abandoned office building hallways. A sea of stained yellow wallpaper and terrible carpets. What started as one small post really quickly developed into a fandom, with everybody writing their own backstories, continuity, lore, and all these narratives coming together in a big cosmic gumbo in this setting of the fractal hallways that live between worlds. One of the most famous, and I would argue what kind of propelled the Backrooms from underground horror community stuff to mainstream, was a series of short films by a very young YouTuber named Kane Parsons. Parsons kickstarted the trend of making Backrooms found footage videos, which is what we're looking at today, and pretty much everything we're going to be looking at was inspired by what he worked on. It's fantastic stuff, honestly. Triply so when you learn that he was 16 years old when he made it. If you haven't seen any of them yet, I'd definitely say go check them out after this video. They're a great little bit of shoestring budget internet horror. The original video is probably the best little microcosm of it. There's a bunch of them, but they're all well made. And if you really liked it and you think, hey, I'd enjoy that concept for roughly 90 minutes, I hope I can sit in a big room with 300 other people and eat some popcorn and do that. I got some fantastic news for you. A24 Productions is working on a feature-length script about the Backrooms. It's going to be directed by Parsons with collaboration from James Wan, who, if you don't recognize the name, was the director of Saw and The Conjuring. Time will tell if that movie will be a total hit or a flop, but But nonetheless, I think it's incredibly cool that an independent filmmaker is gonna get to make a big horror movie before he can even legally rent a car. That's like so cool. And if you want more internet horror, you are in exactly the right place for it, because you can click through on our channel and see the hundreds upon hundreds of scary videos we've been making for years. Put together some words that you like, you'll find something for it, I guarantee you. Stay subscribed, stay scared, and stay watching this video, okay? We got more Backrooms coming up for you. Number 4, no clipping through reality. Now, in that very first post that described the Backrooms and created the initial lore, it said that the way you get to the Backrooms is by no clipping through reality. If you spent most of your childhood outside playing sports with other kids and you weren't exclusively surfing the Steam forums, maybe the term no clip is unfamiliar with you. It's a video game development term, meaning no collisions, allowing you to pass through all objects in a digital space. It's mostly used for development, but it can also be a little cheat code in some games. I had a lot of fun no clipping through Half-Life 2 and feeling like I was some sort of temporal god, just like blitzing through all the levels in 6 seconds. The idea of no clipping in reality sounds kind of funny, but also if you like really thought about it, just terrifying. I mean, imagine if you woke up one day and physics just stopped working entirely. It would probably stress me out. You don't have to imagine much more, because thanks to a Redditor and TikToker by the handle of Active Hypocrite, we have a look at just what phasing through reality might look like. And here's where it would go. Starts kind of funny, the chair scrambling around like a Source engine prop glitching out, and then not even 10 seconds later, our hapless protagonist finds themselves no clipping through reality and landing flat in the Backrooms, presumably to spend out the rest of their days. Imagine how scary that would be. Your whole life's just upturned, and half a second like that, you're enjoying reality, enjoying all the pleasures that existence has to offer, and then bam, to the Backrooms with ya. I gotta say, people give TikTok a lot of guff, and rightfully so. I've seen a lot of terrible things on there. But I do like how it's become a video platform for really quick, like bite-sized little snacks of filmmaking. Any platform that allows creative people a medium for which to serve up scares, A-okay with me. Number 3, the entrance to the Backrooms on Google Earth. It's a popular trend on TikTok lately where users claim that they're able to find doorways into the infamous Backrooms, finding the portals that connect the realities between, and that they can find these points on Google Earth. I've watched a bunch of them. Some of them, I'm not gonna lie, pretty corny, but some of them are pretty fun, like the one I've found for you here. Posted to us from user Super Game Kid, and I have to throw this out here. The video in question, when it was posted with the title, "Not Fake." So if you had any doubts, well, there it is, not fake. Duh. Not like anyone can attach photos to Google Earth or anything, no sir. Alright, we'll roll some of this clip in question. Now remember, this user found something strange in Japan. A big, mysterious looking complex, maybe a high-tech government institution, something that wouldn't look too out of place in an SCP story or something. That's already odd enough, because I don't know what this building really is. When you zoom in on it like they did, you get an up-close and personal view of everybody's favorite never-ending liminal series of hallways, the Backrooms. I like to think that if the Backrooms are out there, you know, in between realities, this endlessly expanding space of musty hallways, the way to access it was through the most advanced high-tech facility. Billions of dollars spent to get trapped in a mysterious stinky space. Isn't that mostly the plot of Stranger Things? Who knows what sort of research could be done on the Backrooms? Who knows what sort of efforts have been made to reach them? You just try typing SV no clip 0. That's a little joke for you gamers up there. All I know is that it's not anything I'm looking to explore anytime soon, so I'm thankful for videos like this, where I can experience the Backrooms from the comfort of my own reality with doorways and exits and an outside and everything. Number 2, death rooms. I think we've been getting a little tame with these videos. And I mean, that's sort of the nature of the Backrooms, isn't it? It's more about the strange wistfulness that comes from a place that's familiar, nostalgic, but unrecognizable, like a dream being described to you by someone else. A bit of an esoteric fear. But esoteric fear doesn't really make for good videos YouTubers can make stupid thumbnails and the faces reacting to about. So sometimes we gotta crank it up just a little bit while also meeting content guidelines. Much like the SCP Foundation, there's all sorts of contributors to the shared urban legend that is the Backrooms. Some of them see the Backrooms as a lot more hostile. Let's roll some of this recovered found footage from YouTuber ChuggoYT called The Death Walls. Whatever is going on in this clip is bad news bears and then some. We see it from the perspective of a couple of explorers donning hazmat suits, presumably from some super secret government institution you need Black Ops level clearance to even know about. Maybe the SCP Foundation? I could definitely see those guys getting involved in something like this. Whatever has happened though is absolutely horrible. We see the remnants of the investigation crew squished up against the walls. They had no clips set back to 1, not 0. They're wedged in between the Backrooms. Their insides are sprayed all over horrifically. But that might not even be the worst thing happening out there, because whoever we're watching the footage of is running from something horrifying that we can't see. Now there's a lot of low effort content about the Backrooms, all the 3 a.m. posts, all the silly reaction faces. There's some very cool independent filmmaking and creative work being done with the Backrooms, and I always want to shout out a more creative one when I see it. It's only a minute long, and it gave me a little spook. So toss Chuggo YT a like when you see him next, and tell him the top 5 scary gangs sent you. Number 1, the pool rooms. Since the Backrooms first started becoming popular around like 2019-ish, there are so many clips and videos of people recording their own experiences, and everyone's got their own little like personal touch on what they think the Backrooms is, and really it's a shared internet horror story, so nobody's got a wrong answer. There's a lot of really great ones worth checking out, but I think some of them don't quite get what was making it so scary or unique in the first place. If it's just monsters and bad guys and scary writings on the walls, that's like any other horror setting. When the original post was just about a bizarre office space that looked familiar but off in a way that you can't really place. This video posted to Reddit called The Pool Rooms really captures that for me. It's an endless, sprawling, familiar location. Doesn't really look like anything out of reality. It looks almost like it could be like an abandoned shopping mall from the 80s or something. You know, that ceramic style, that trademark soulless architecture and design. You can tell where like a food court Taco Bell should be, except it's all been mostly flooded up to about shin level. It's enough to be annoying, but not enough to be impossible to travel through. There is really something about this, for me at least. The stillness when something should be there, something will leap out at you but never comes. Look at it for a long time and just think about how unpleasant it would be to be in there. Cold, lonely, constantly wet, no retrieval or even a moment to catch your breath and get dry. The Backrooms and the whole concept of it is scariest when I think it's like a dream that you're only sort of half remembering, when you're not sure what's real and what isn't. Everything in this video has been real though, I'll tell you that. I would never tell you something fake on this channel. Number 5, Spree. Coming in first on our list is the newest release and a new age classic that I think, give it a few years, will get the recognition. Spree. It was called American Psycho for the digital age, and I think that fits. Spree stars Joe Keery of Stranger Things and Joe fame, putting down the baseball bat and the hair gel and sitting behind the wheel of a rideshare service, playing a down-on-his-luck young man named Kurt who wants nothing more than to be a viral, famous social media star. Ah, very relatable. But in a sea of unboxing videos, react TikToks, let's plays, confession videos, hashtag challenges, apologies, and top 5 videos about horror movies, Kurt struggles to find any sort of audience for his content whatsoever and decides that the best way to stand out on the internet is to live stream himself snuffing his passengers he picks up in his rideshare app. Okay, you know, to each their own. I'll stick to doing YouTube videos, you do you. Now, Spree is not the smartest movie out there. The social satire is a little basic, to be honest, and it could have done with a lot more fleshing out on its commentary on social media addiction and internet validation, but it makes for a very solid foundation for a flick. It's got a plot that probably would have made for an okay Black Mirror episode, and maybe this movie wouldn't have worked as well if it wasn't for how fun Joe Keery is. Maybe I'm extremely biased because I love the guy, and because like most of the Western world, Steve Harrington is the only reason I watch Stranger Things, but he brings a super fun mania to the social media addicted lunatic. The American Psycho comparison, definitely apt. That's one of my absolute favorite movies of all time for just how sick and like entertainingly evil Patrick Bateman is. You know he's the most reprehensible, unlikable character ever put to film, but Christian Bale is just so damn charismatic you love him. And that's what's happening here. Joe Keery somehow manages to be both convincing as a really scary psychopath, but also oddly sympathetic and earnest. You know, it's the desperation. Have you ever seen a man soaked head to toe in blood, shaking and quivering after doing something unspeakable, and he's still asking you to subscribe to his channel? And speaking of vapid, deranged, dead-eyed internet personalities looking for fame, if you're looking for more scary movie reviews, ghosts, goblins, and aliens, well, click through to Top 5 Scary and subscribe. We've got loads more content with me behind the wheel, but not really. I can't drive. Look at me. I just skate. Number 4, VHS. VHS eventually exploded into a mega hit franchise. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them, not even including spin-offs, but it all comes back to the daring original. VHS was a collection of horror movie shorts, all under the same theme of bizarre found footage horror, and the result is electric. It's like getting to sit at home for your own private horror movie film festival. Now, the collections of shorts featured were all directed by, at the time, fairly underground independent horror movie directors, but now looking back at it, it's like they've assembled a really impressive pantheon of rising horror legends. We got stuff from Adam Wingard, who gave us You're Next in the 2016 Blair Witch reboot, which was okay. We got one from David Bruckner, who would go on to direct The Ritual in the 2022 Hellraiser. And we've got T.I. West, who would make the A24 darling Pearl. So it's a film with nothing but wall-to-wall talent and creativity at their best. It also made the format of being an anthology movie like part of the plot of the movie itself, which I thought was very meta and juicy. A group of career crooks film themselves committing violent and vile acts, and hey, I wonder if they knew the guy from the first movie. And they are commissioned to heist a single object, a mysterious VHS tape. The guys break into the house and find the tape, and the movie is them watching it and then cutting back to whatever strange mystery is happening with the criminals. It's very inventive, it's very immersive, it's very, very cool. Now, all the segments are really cool, but I want to shout out the shorts Tuesday the 17th for being a very high concept idea for a horror movie I can't say I've seen elsewhere, and I can't even say too much about giving it away, but it uses the VHS format really fun. And another shout out for Something Strange Happened to Emily when she was younger. Again, very inventive. It's told exclusively through video calls and the internet, and it features a hearty dose of medical body horror, wild twists, and just like the tiniest little bit of alien stuff. Just like a little bit. Number 3, Lake Mungo. Okay, let's go back to another lesser known one with Lake Mungo. This one's an Australian feature, came out around 2008. Lake Mungo is a healthy, hearty dose of scares and thrills and heart-wrenching family drama. Horror and family drama go hand in hand like the girl from Hereditary and a stop sign. Too soon? That was too far? That was too far? That was too far. In Lake Mungo, we're in the perspective of Matthew Palmer, a young man who has been depressed and broken shortly after his sister's drowning shattered his family's well-being and mental health. However, Matthew begins to see signs of his sister everywhere, feeling her presence in the house with him, and mostly because he keeps seeing her ghost all around. He sets up a surveillance camera system all over their house and begins making a documentary about his experience hunting for his sister and closure. As the investigation as to whether or not his sister really is haunting them, Matthew ends up uncovering family secrets that were long thought buried and finds himself haunted by his sister's loss in a way much grander than any ghost story could. Now, what I really like about this one is pretty much right up until credits, you'll be asking yourself what's happening. Not in a confusing way, like an Inception sort of thing. It's just got a bunch of fun and clever twists that kind of keep you guessing the entire film, keep you asking questions. The film uses the medium well. It allows the audience to go on this journey with the family, where you're there with them and you're asking too what's happening, if it's really a haunting or if it's all just a sad family wanting to see their daughter one last time. It honestly ends up being really heartwarming in a bizarre way. You don't see a lot of horror movies that kind of get you right here. And without spoiling like too much, because I do want you to see it, unlike Hereditary, this one doesn't really have like a happy ending, but it doesn't have a horrifically sad ending. It's kind of bittersweet. It's genuinely very touching. So if you're looking for something to tug at your heartstrings a lot while also making your hair stand on end, you can't go wrong with Lake Mungo. Number 2 is Wreck. Maybe you've already seen this one because it was a smash hit commercially and critically, but if you haven't, man, come on, you really oughta. Wreck is found footage stuff at its best, putting you smack dab in the POV of the action, and it makes you feel like you're both part of this horrifying nightmare, but also kind of like you're like an FBI agent watching evidence recovered years after the fact in a dark room. Wreck follows a film crew that's recording something when they find themselves caught in a way bigger story. When a neighbor attacks someone and bites them, police quarantine off a building for an unknown reason, and you get to experience it all go down in first person as more and more people inside the building seem to be turning into something a little rabid, vicious, and more than a little undead. Wreck does zombies 28 Days Later style, with a pretty interesting twist that I won't give away if you still haven't seen it. They're fast, violent, and unpredictable, and it makes for a super entertaining movie watching the protagonists try and fend off a horde of undead in these really cramped, tight, claustrophobic spaces. There's a lot of excellent choreography work going on here to make sure everything fits in the frame, and the first person view of the camera really makes it feel like you are stuck in there with them too. If you let yourself get into it, you really have a good time with this one. Like, if there was ever really a zombie apocalypse happening, I think we could all agree there'd be gigabytes worth of cell phone footage to go through. So in a bizarre way, this movie about a zombie apocalypse feels oddly realistic. Even just outside of being a good found footage horror movie, Wreck is also just a super good zombie movie if you're into that sort of thing. They remade it into Quarantine for Americans a year later, but if you want my advice, skip the remake and just go for the original, and that is honestly true of like 99.9% of all horror movies anyway. Okay, before we get into number 1 properly, I wanted to cheat a little bit and break the rules of top 5. Don't tell anybody that I added some extras, but I wanted to shout out a few honorable mentions that I love that didn't make the cut. Blair Witch is going to be the first one. The original, the sequels are all iffy. Number 2 is going to be Troll Hunters. Really fun monsters. Yeah. Paranormal Activity, it's pretty good. It's not super my thing, but it's pretty good. And finally, wanted to shout out Host really quick. It's about a seance that happens on Zoom, just came out, very modern. Okay, there we go. So number 1 on the list is going to be Creep. It's got nothing to do with Radiohead. Sorry. Coming to us from Patrick Bryce and indie darling Mark Duplass, he takes a break from earnestly mumbling through an indie movie to play a completely chilling, well, the title said it, Creep. This movie is basically just watching Mark Duplass be really weird in front of a camera for an hour and 20 minutes. It's a great example of when you can do a lot more with a lot less. This movie is as absolutely bare bones as it gets. There's 2 actors in the entire movie, and they're the 2 guys who wrote and directed the movie. A struggling videographer, Aaron, gets an offer to film a series of personal diaries for a strange client, Joseph, who has an inoperable brain tumor and wants to leave a series of videos behind for his unborn child. Which does sound nice, until Aaron gets there and discovers very quickly something is really off about this, and this isn't going to be a normal job. This movie is all performance, and Duplass crushes it as the bizarre, mysterious Joseph. He plays him really, realistically creepy. Like, he's the kind of guy you'd meet on a bus and spend the rest of the day thinking about. Like, you know something is wrong with the guy, but you're not really sure in what way and just how afraid of him and how dangerous he might be until it's too late. It's a movie that really gets in your head and gets right under your skin. If you leave the movie terrified of the main character, but also very enamored in equal measures, worry not, because Bryce and Duplass agree with you, since there's a Creep 2, which is apparently just as good as the first. I haven't seen it yet, I only have so much time, but I should see it eventually, since there is a Creep 3 in early pre-production stages. So although this guy may be a completely unsettling weirdo, we love this creep and can't get enough. He belongs here.
Number 5 on this list is the Reversed Demon. This demon clearly took some gymnastic classes when they were alive as a person, because they're definitely flexing their flexibility muscles now in the demon afterlife. The clips that I'm about to show you were posted to the YouTube channel Kisa Weba. They were captured by a security camera and show a demon slowly crawling across the ground. So as we can see, that demon is just slowly meandering along, minding its own business. Now, you may think that this is the end of the story, but it's actually not, because that thing was caught on another security camera in the area a little bit later. Let's take a look at that. Now, what on God's green earth is that freaking thing? I mean, it has to be a demon, right? Like, what the hell? Its face is clearly all white, completely inhuman. And now that we can fully see the way that it walks, we get a clear sense of how demonic it actually is. I think the biggest question that comes up through all of this, though, is what is it doing and where's it going? Fingers crossed that whatever it was doing doesn't concern any one of us. Number 4 on this list is Kubishev Square. Back in 2015, a video was uploaded to YouTube from an account named D-Man Operator. The video is only 50 seconds long and shows someone getting chased by a demon or monster in Kubishev Square. Let's roll 30 seconds of that clip and see what you guys think about this demon. So the man gets into the park, and just to the left of him is this completely demonic looking spider creature. It's slow out of the gate, but then it starts coming after him. The final 10 seconds of the video is going to show this thing get really close to him and then spit what looks to be some green toxic fluid out at him. Let's roll that now. So yeah, let's put it this way. Whatever this thing was, it definitely isn't human or any sort of animal that we're aware of. Now, can I say for sure that it's a demon? No, I can't, but I can say that it definitely looks very dangerous. Watch your back, everybody. This thing came after this dude in broad daylight in the park. Number 3 on this list is the scariest video that you'll ever watch. That's actually what the YouTubers Mindseed TV titled this video that they posted roughly about a year ago. In this video, several guys are on a ghost hunt late at night in a haunted home. The whole video is roughly 40 minutes long and they capture a ton of cool stuff. One of the scariest parts of this entire video, though, is what I'm about to show